I'm Brian Powell here with two great Canadian runners, Tamsin Anstey and
Gary Robbins.
Gary Robbins, yeah. Who?
We'll fill in the blanks, yeah. I'll fill in the blanks as you go.
I've never met these people before, of course.
Random. Walking through.
Yeah, they're two great Canadian runners here. This is your second attempt at Western States?
Second attempt at Western. Hopefully some lessons learned from last year.
What did you learn last year?
That I wasn't built for the heat, and I didn't put in enough heat training time, and probably went out a little bit fast last year. So I lived in the sauna for the last month, and I'm planning to start a little bit slower tomorrow, and hopefully that pans out for me.
And this is your first running of Western States and your first 100 miler.
Yeah.
You've been ultra running for a year. So what do you?
A little over a year.
What are you most excited about? Tomorrow.
I'm just excited to enjoy the run more than anything. I want to do really well, but I don't know what to expect because I've never run 100 miles before.
Yeah.
I know I'm good for the first 50.
How about
I've done that.
what are you nervous about? There's got to be what's standing out there on the.
I don't really know what to be nervous about because I've never done it before, which might actually be a good
No,
thing.
it's an advantage. Sometimes that ignorance can be an advantage.
Yeah, I'm not too worked up. I'm not too nervous because I really don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I did as much as I could to prepare for it, and I just want to have fun.
So you've only been running ultras for a little over a year, but
Yeah.
you've been running.
My whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
almost.
in collegiately.
Track
Fast
star.
track, yeah, track.
So you've got a little speed when you get to the California street
So
section.
once I hit the last 300 meters on the track, I'm good.
You'll walk-
Fast and loves the heat.
Yeah.
But it's not very hot.
Yeah.
No, it'll be hot tomorrow.
It will.
Yeah, you'll get your heat. Don't worry.
So, what do you think are her best strengths going into the race?
Stubbornness, ignorance.
We live together.
And what do you like to fire back at? Are his best
Yeah.
strengths?
Yeah, exactly. No, Gary's going to do really well tomorrow. He's worked very hard this year.
Wow, that was exactly what I told you to say.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
No,
And I
she's
really-
You owe her a back rub.
Yeah,
later
yeah,
on.
exactly.
And I really hope he does well because I really don't want to deal with the aftermath if he doesn't.
Well, I mean, speaking of running well, you set a course record at Hurt this year,
At
correct?
Hurt in January.
Beating
And
your
he
buddy
has
Jeff
Nesta.
Rose. And where
Jeff
else?
Rose. Who's Jeff Rose?
I don't know, some guy who sets all course records until you come and break them.
Overrated.
But you've had a pretty good year until Miwok.
I had a good year till Miwok, and I DNF'd my first ever DNF at Miwok, and basically went home and looked at it from a scientific perspective with a lot of blood work and stuff, and found that a lot of vitals were lower than they should have been, and hadn't taken a break in a year and a half, which I know better than that, but I just...
It's easy to not.
I kept going, and I was enjoying it and loving it. I didn't get injured, so I kept running, and it's a weird mentality that. So I believe I was overtrained, and I ran 98 miles in the month of May. So we'll see what that means going into this race.
You're very well rested.
I actually...
You have the best taper here.
Yeah, exactly. I've been tapering for 2 months, so I'm definitely ready to rock this thing.
The opposite of the Killian taper.
yeah, exactly. Or Mr. Kaprichka, which I can see just off in the distance there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have. But honestly, in the last few weeks, I felt better than I have in months. So I'm hoping the mileage I had before this all went down was enough to sustain me tomorrow.
So what do you think? Realistically, what are you shooting for tomorrow?
Honestly, I don't mind. I want an M10 because I want to come back next year and I want to have a long-term focus towards this race versus having to go try and qualify for it later in the season.
Gotcha.
So my only goal is to try and knock a top 10 and then I can relax for a couple of months.
How about yourself? What are you shooting for tomorrow?
I would love to come top 10 because I want to come back and... What are you doing?
Nothing.
Stealing my thunder. I would love to come top 10 because I'd love to come back next year.
With a little experience.
With a little experience, yeah. And who knows, I may get to the 50-mile mark and feel great and just blow through the rest of the race. I've never done 100 miles, so I'm hoping for the best.
Who do you think is going to be your biggest competition tomorrow? Who, on the front? I mean, maybe not your biggest competition.
On the front, there's the top four.
And
my take on it is that I think Killian is the real deal, and I know there's a lot of people that are questioning it, but I've seen everything he's done in Europe there, and I think Killian's going to blow over the first climb, and Jeff and Anton are going to be in hot pursuit, and my take is that I think Jeff and Killian will have a battle for the ages tomorrow.
And what do you think about the women's race?
The women's race, well, I think that, I haven't really thought too much about it. I think that, Devin, I think Devin's going to be right up there.
And then Tracy Garneau.
Tracy Garneau.
Tell us a little about Tracy Garneau, because a lot of Americans don't know her very well.
Oh, they'll know her tomorrow.
They'll know her tomorrow. She's an amazing runner. She's been doing it for over a decade. She's done really well. She's won Hurt a couple years in a row and set the course record, and she won.
She was the third overall this year?
She was third overall.
Yeah.
She was right on the cusp of almost going sub 24, which is unheard of. And she won AR 50 gate into this race, so she's got foot speed
And
as
she's
well.
tough as nails. Like, she just won't quit.
Tough as nails.
Yeah.
She's got a ton of experience, and she knows how to race properly. So I think Tracy is going to be top.
I think she's the favorite.
Top 2 tomorrow.
Tracy's the favorite, and
Yeah.
Nikki Kimmel.
Yeah, and they've run together at
Yeah,
They were
I think
teammates,
they
yeah,
both
the Jungle
do really
Marathon.
well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're both really, really smart runners. I mean, if there's any two people that I'd even attempt to pace off of, it would probably be those two because they run a smart race.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
who do you think's favored in the women's race? Or who,
I
would you concur?
My pick, I think Tracy is going to take it tomorrow, but you can't count out Nikki. Devin is right there. There's no doubt about that. And there'll be some other people that'll be up there at the front as well. So we'll see.
Well, it's her first 100. Would you have any advice for her or anybody else running a 100-miler for the first time?
Basically, through experience, I think the best thing you can do is go over the first climb as fast as you can, and then just try and hang on to the finish.
That's a great piece of advice.
Thanks, Gary.
So what has he told you that's not that?
Then I can say I led the race for 1 mile.
Yeah, exactly. The entire race.
I led Western States for 1 mile. Then I
Even the
died.
men.
I'm gonna
good luck with
showing
that.
up time.
I've been trying to preach for her to just keep it in the tank and not get too excited until you get late in the race. And the final 20 miles is where it's won and lost.
100 miles is a long way. I don't see myself going
Yeah.
at it right off the start.
There's no sense to race early, right?
No, none at all. None at all. Yeah.
Well, Tamsin and Gary, thank you very much
Thank
for taking
you.
the time to speak with us here. Thanks,
Thanks, Brian. Good stuff.
Take care.
Thanks.